Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. Put it into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or creep or drip or crash. Be water, my friend.
Guys, it's been a wild 2 weeks since we last spoke, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. From UFC 207, way to end 2016, absolutely crazy. World Series of Fighting on New Year's Eve, that's what we last spoke about. Went up there for New Year's Eve, ball dropping, World Series of Fighting at MSG. Nate Diaz was there, Frankie Edgar, Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture. It was absolutely amazing. I can't wait to tell you guys all about it. I have a bunch of great guests on today's show, but before we get into any of that, it would be wicked if you could help us out on our new channel and rate us 5 stars or whatever you feel we deserve. Leave a quick comment below. That really helps us get on the rankings. 2017 is our year, guys. We're going to make that chart. No ifs, ands, or buts. So give us 5 stars down below and let us know how we're doing. If you guys would like to have anyone on the show, all yours, guys. This show is all for you guys and the fighters. So make sure you share this podcast with all your MMA friends and family. Let's get into episode number 33 of Pure Evil MMA. I hope you all behaved yourselves.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Jose Shorty Torres, the Titan FC Flyweight Interim Champion.
Hey, everyone, it's the champ, Pure Innovation.
Hey, this is Rafian Stat.
It's Bellator's Blair Tugman.
This is Bilal Muhammad.
Hey, guys, this is Ted Check.
This is Ron, this is Quiet Boy Solomon.
Hey, guys, it's Brennan Allen.
This is Joseph Correa, founder of Frontproof Media.
Hey, this is Ed Carbajal.
Daniel Zaldivar from Frontproof Media and Frontproof Media.
Frontproofmedia.com.
You're listening to
Pure
Evil.
Pure Evil.
Pure Evil.
Pure Evil.
Pure Evil.
MMA.
MMA.
You're listening to Pure Evil MMA.
Energy. You're listening to Pure Evil MMA.
Going on, guys? I hope you're happy to hear my voice again. I am happy to be back in the Evil studio here after a wild New Year's to start off our 2017. Thanks for tuning in to Pure Evil MMA, episode number 33. I'm your host, like always, Evil Eddie from FrontProofMedia.com. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Facebook at Pure Evil MMA. Also, guys, make sure to follow me on Instagram at evil_echo, EVIL_ECCO. Thanks for tuning in today. Whether it's your first sip of coffee, you're on your morning commute, gym, tanning, shopping? We have a killer lineup today between World Series of Fighting in New York City. I was there, got to see and meet Nate Diaz. UFC 207, we're going to run by that with a couple of great guests. And UFC Pick'em winners. We have our final winner, which I'm not going to ruin yet, but it's a big one. Shamrock FC, Kevin Sears stops by. We have members of the week to discuss. Kelvin Tiller from Shamrock FC, weekly news, Garret Gross, 2017 new MMA rules, and Deron Carlis coming at you. Gear up, get ready, and let's go. What's going on, Evil family? I am so happy to be back in the room where all goes down, the Evil lair, to discuss all the weekly MMA news, but even more than that, of course, if you guys been following the podcast for a while, you know that I was just in New York City for World Series of Fighting's first event. I'm going to bring you guys all through that on press row with some of the best out there. There were even some Super Bowl football players that were sitting right next to us. Nate Diaz sat right in front of us. Frankie Edgar was there. Randy Couture, Chuck Liddell, and it all went down on my Snapchat, guys. If you're not following me on Snapchat, boy, you're missing out. Of course, a lot of you guys already follow me there, and you follow the journey of World Series of Fighting, so you're already going to be able to know the visual side of this. Of course, we had our cameraman with us, Frenchy, who you guys will get to meet in just a couple of minutes. But, you know, UFC 207, man, did I lead you guys down the wrong path there? I got to apologize for that, but it's safe to say nobody saw that coming. And for 2016 to end on that sour note of Ronda Rousey, it's whew. But I'll tell you this, she's not handling the loss bad at all. It's not like that last time. So I'm going to talk about it, and I know I said this last time, but could this be the best thing that has happened to Ronda Rousey? Are we going to see a new and improved Ronda Rousey come back, or will she really end it on this sour note? We have a lot to discuss. We have a lot of great guests coming on today. You're going to hear from Shamrock FC's Kevin Sears. We shared a couple of laughs, members of the week. A lot of you guys on Twitter tweeting out this week about who you think is going to be champion at the end of 2017 with the list of champions we have now. We're going to go through them. You guys, it ranged, I'll tell you that much. And then we're going to speak with Kelvin Tiller from Shamrock FC, and he's the opponent of Kevin Sears, actually. And then we're going to break it down with some weekly MMA news. I know a lot of people out there talking about Meryl Streep. We're going to break that down, tell you guys exactly what went down and how the fighters are reacting. And one of my favorite responses to Meryl Streep was actually our boy Mayhem Miller. So Mayhem Miller actually responds. We're going to go through that. And then, of course, some great fight announcements for UFC 209 were just brought to the table. And there was even a canceled UFC event already. I can't believe it, but maybe they'll spice up that UFC 209 card because, well, you know what? We're going to get into it. I don't want to ruin anything. Ronda breaks her silence. Soulja Boy versus Chris Brown. I don't even know if I should report on this, but I guess I will. You guys been tweeting about it. I got to follow up. And then, of course, my trip to reality fighting we're going to be discussing in the weekly news. But first, guys, let's gear a little bit towards World Series of Fighting and my trip to New York City. So, of course, you guys know if you're not there a day before, it's going to be a madhouse if you head up to New York City, taking the train. But you know what? This year, I have to say, not that many people going to New York, not that many people when we got to New York either. I don't know if it's because people are nervous, maybe of a terrorist attack happening, or who knows? Who knows what's really going on? I mean, then again, I was there really early, so there weren't that many people there that early. But even at night, when we watched it on the countdown, it was like vacant almost. And we actually got to see the aftermath. But on our way up there, we got off the train, heading out to World Series of Fighting to catch these amazing fights. I brought my cameraman, Frenchy, who's a good friend of mine growing up. We watched, I think the first fight I watched with him was actually Bones versus Rampage. So we go way back with MMA, so it's a brand new sport to him in a way because he's never been to press row. He's never covered the sport. He's only watched it. So I gave him, an agenda of things that we needed to get done, between pictures. And this kid was blown away by what he was experiencing. Like, I loved every second of it being at Madison Square Garden Theater, which is actually, if you guys don't know what the theater is, you'll remember this. UFC 205 press conference was actually held in the theater. Our boy Ed Carbajal was actually there asking Dana White and Conor McGregor questions at UFC 205 presser. It was in there. It was actually a lot bigger than I thought it would be. And, once we got to MSG, there was like a communication problem between World Series of Fighting and the security at MSG, because as soon as they got to the door, the New York cop, I was like, I'm media, where exactly am I supposed to be going? Can you steer me in the right direction? You're going to look for the double glass doors, buddy. Right down there, take a right or left. You're going to look for Geronimo's, and then you can see two big glass doors. Go through them. They'll give you the right way. Guys, when I tell you I was walking around for 45 minutes around MSG, I walked around it 3 times. 3 times in 45 minutes. And if you look at like an aerial shot, that's some distance I covered. And nobody knew where press was going. I was absolutely furious about this because, of course, if you picture it, I got my backpack, I got my cameras, I got my laptop in the bag. I got my cameraman with me who's frustrated as well. There's people running across the street everywhere. Madness everywhere. Nobody knew what was happening. Finally, we figured it out. We went to the glass doors. Another cop directed us. We got directions from 4 different people, by the way. No one knew where the hell to go. Finally get in there. David Branch defending his title. Amazing. There was a lot of great fights that night. Nate Diaz in the corner of Jake Shields going up against John Fitch, who actually retired. We witnessed a retirement that night. I thought Jake Shields could have done a little more, but that's a championship fight, man. They did amazing. They did amazing. But for John Fitch to retire, man, it just shocks me. Going out on top, and that's the way to do it, I guess. Jake Shields, I don't know what's next for him, but it was awesome to meet Nate. Came up, took some pictures with us on press row, which you're really not supposed to do. And then as soon as somebody saw that I was taking a picture with a flock of people warmed him, and I was like, $2 million a picture. He don't want a picture unless it's $2 million. So I got a quick little laugh out of Nate. And then Randy Couture, Chuck Liddell walking around, Frankie Edgar in the corner of Marlon Morales, who's maybe a free agent now. Maybe we'll see him in the UFC. Maybe World Series of Fighting. We'll keep him on. Then, of course, guys, Justin Gaethje going in there. And when I tell you that I told my cameraman Frenchy, I was like, dude, if there's any fighter to watch tonight, and it might freak you out at first, but it's very entertaining, check this kid out, Justin Gaethje. I showed him his last fight. He was like, no way. He was like, there's no way he fights like that. He does. He goes in there, he gives it his all, but he was getting caught, man. He was getting caught a couple of times. The refs actually had to stop it in the 3rd round, I believe, because his opponent had a brutal eye cut. But his opponent, Firmino, did a lot better than expected. Justin Gaethje kind of undermined him. But he gets the title defense, even did a signature cartwheel kick on the way out. It was absolutely a blast. And, of course, we left MSG. We got to talk to Carlos Silva, who's, the VP. He actually helped AOL.com back in the day become an empire that it is with AOL Music, AOL Sports, and, sure you guys know who Carlos Silva is, but we got to speak with him, got to see the plaque with New York City allowing World Series of Fighting to have their event at MSG. It was a moment, man. And there was one crazy character on press row. We didn't find out who it was. We couldn't figure it out for the lives of us, but straight up, Gilligan and Captain Skip were sitting on press row. And when they tell you, like when they send you your press credentials and stuff, there's like a list, like you can't do this, you can't do that, and make sure you dress business casual. I tell you, this guy had a captain's hat on, a captain's suit on, like he was about to go sail in a tugboat. I kind of like it. I kind of get the gimmick, but it was kind of dirty in a way. And I don't want to bash anyone. I don't mean to say that, but at least look fresh. If you're gonna go wild like that, look fresh. I mean, you're on press row at MSG where miracles happen. He had some good questions though afterwards, so I'm not gonna rack on him too much. But somebody get that guy a suit. Looks like he went through the perfect storm in it. I don't know. Maybe it's a good luck suit. Who knows? But either way, as we were leaving MSG, we were walking to go get some food, and I tell you, the homeless population there in New York, it's bad. Like it's pretty intense here in New Haven. Like you see them all over the place, a lot of young kids especially, but in New York, it's a lot of old timers that have been doing this for years, obviously, because let me tell you, this dude did not care at all. We were walking into a restaurant. There was a homeless dude just crashed out, passed out, no waking this dude up, and this was straight out of a movie. I thought I was on Punk'd or some weird like candy camera or something. Dude literally just started pissing his pants. The stream started running down the sidewalk like a river, and it was coming fast, and I had to jump over it. This was something out of a movie. I swore. Amazing event. Of course something like this had to happen though. I know I feel bad. I mean, I don't mean to bash homeless people. It's a very sad thing to witness, but damn, that was crazy, especially when I'm about to go eat for a long day of work. Not what I wanted to see. Not the prettiest sight in the world. But anyway, we went got our food, and then sunsets, packs up people on every corner. There were straight up SWAT teams on every block with these huge like pellet guns, body armor. Like they're taking it seriously, and I don't blame them. It definitely made me feel a lot safer. I went up to one of them actually, and I said thank you, because spending New Year's Eve protecting us. I know a lot of cops had a rough year this year. I just wanted to make sure we said thanks. Of course, I was rocking my Pure Evil MMA shirt, so he knew it was up. Anyways, guys, let's talk about UFC 207. I got a couple of great guests that joined me right after World Series of Fighting. You know, Frenchy, Kerry, and let's get into it. You're going to hear the ball drop in a second. This was our New Year's Eve night. Let's go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! 2016 is now in the books, guys. New York City, we were just there. Oh, they're making out on TV. Never seen that before. So we were just down there in Times Square, and it was a madhouse. I mean, me and Frenchy got off the train this morning, heading to Madison Square Garden for World Series of Fighting, and we got to the doors, and we're literally walking around Madison Square Garden for like 40 minutes. Let's talk about UFC 207 that went down last night. Ronda Rousey going in there against Amanda Nunes. Absolutely crazy, because Ronda Rousey was supposed to turn her big comeback, coming off an embarrassing knockout today of Holly Holm. But last night was 10 times more embarrassing, if you ask me. Everyone was warning me about Amanda Nunes going in there and looking sharp with her striking skills. And also, if Ronda was able to bring her down to the ground, she was going to find some trouble there, but Ronda couldn't even get her hands around her. She couldn't do anything in there. It looked literally like Miesha Tate at UFC 200. As soon as Amanda went in there, she pushed forward and struck Ronda Rousey, and she looked like a fish out of water. And if you ask me, that's not the Ronda Rousey that we remember. There was something off. Kerry, you've been watching Ronda Rousey before Strikeforce. We remember her, beating Miesha Tate twice. We've seen her beat Kat Zingano, Liz Carmouche, Bethe Correia. I mean, the list goes on and on. What was different about this fight? She didn't even look this bad in the Holly Holm fight, and she looked bad in that fight.
Yeah, no, she looked worse than I've ever seen her look. Literally looked like she had no idea what she was doing, and I think a part of that is the loss to Holly Holm now, really having thought about it. I think that definitely affected her a lot more than I would have expected or thought. And I also think that her coach is awful. I think he has her convinced that she was a great striker after she outstruck Bethe Correia, which is, she's a good striker, but she's not Holly Holm. She got a swole head, and she tried to do what she tried to do with Holly Holm, and tried to strike with Amanda Nunes, and that was a really stupid mistake on her part, if you ask me. I think that she shouldn't have done that, and I think that really costed her a lot and made her look real bad.
Well, that's like a huge talk this year. Edmond Taverdian, of course. Ronda Rousey, we listened to what Edmond said in her corner against Holly Holm, and it was a bunch of bullshit. Oh, you're doing a great job. You're doing perfect. You're doing everything you need to do. Get back in there, and then she gets knocked out. Yeah. She looked out of place there. She comes back. This build-up. And before Ronda even came back, Travis Brown, if you guys don't know who Travis Brown is, Ronda's boyfriend, who's a heavyweight. He's beat, knocked out Brendan Shaw before. Absolutely amazing fighter, but Edmond Taverdian is not teaching him much over there. He even started trouble with Verdum, yeah. and Verdum even threw a front kick at him. Yeah. It just doesn't look like. We all know Ronda's mom doesn't like Edmond Taverdian. Frenchy, and just to introduce you guys to my boy Frenchy. Frenchy came with me tonight to a World Series of Fighting. We needed a camera guy tonight. I've known him my whole life. Always played sports growing up, hanging out. A really good friend of mine, so let's welcome Frenchy with a warm welcome, guys. Frenchy, what did you think of Ronda Rousey here in this performance? I mean, of course, you were looking forward to seeing Ronda Rousey come back, hopefully get a 30-second knockout, but unfortunately, it was the other way.
Well, I didn't expect her to necessarily knock her out or finish it in 30 seconds, but I definitely expected definitely a better, maybe like a more prepared Ronda Rousey, and I really thought she was going to do a lot better than just put her face out and let her, Nunes just punch her. That didn't make any sense to me. So I'm a little flabbergasted myself, and I hope she actually doesn't decide to leave.
Well, here's the big question. Should they have made Amanda Nunes be the first opponent back? Should Ronda Rousey had an immediate title rematch, whether it was against Holly Holm, if she had the belt, Amanda, or Misha, whoever had the belt? Or should she have had a fight against somebody like Juliana, who Juliana was praying that she had a chance against Ronda, and then if Ronda beat her, she could go against the title. What do you guys think about that? Should that have been what Dana White and everyone should have matched up for her?
In hindsight, I think that would have been in hindsight the best thing for her. However, the problem with that is that for what she did and how long she did it, I understand them giving her her immediate title fight. But in hindsight, no, they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have. She should have gotten somebody as a warm-up match. They do that a lot. Not giving her an easy fight.
Yeah, in boxing they do that.
And we've talked actually about this today because we're all kind of shell shocked about it. But we think obviously you shouldn't just Kerry made a good point. Like Dana just kind of threw her to the wolves, and that's not what you should do. I mean, like a fighter that's been away for so long, especially after like a devastated beat that she had to Holmes. I think she should have gone back in there a little little less.
I think that he was drinking the punch once again, thinking Ronda was going to come back and it was going to be the same Ronda that we're all used to. We just saw it with Conor McGregor. Now, let's not forget, and I said this, guys, and remember a couple episodes ago, UFC 202. We were all watching. The world was watching Conor McGregor. If he could beat Nate Diaz, who we all got to meet tonight. Actually, we all got to meet Nate Diaz tonight, and we got our pictures taken.
That is very true, and he's actually a very nice guy, very humble. He didn't have to, stay there and.
Except he only wanted to take 4 pictures, and then he was like, "That will be $2 million, or I'm not taking another picture."
No, that wasn't the case. He was actually very nice, and he was a very busy guy, and he had to go, and he actually stayed there with us and took the pictures, which was very nice of him.
And you guys can check out all the pictures on Pure Evil MMA on our Twitter account, Facebook. But going back into it, I mean, everyone had their eyes on Conor McGregor in that fight, whether he was going to win against Nate Diaz, and it went all 5 rounds. One of the best fights I've seen so far this year. You guys will be hearing our take on World Series of Fighting in just a moment. But I think, like I said, Dana White was drinking the punch, thinking that Ronda still had it here, was going to be able to get the win over Amanda Nunes, underestimating her. And that's understandable to a certain extent. But, I just talked to a concussion specialist, and I asked him this. And this guy has worked with Chris Weidman when he got knocked out with Luke Rockhold. And I asked him, I said, "Do you think it's too soon for Ronda coming back?" And he said, you should take a year off and then start training again. Well, we saw Ronda Rousey, as soon as Holly lost, say that she was going to get back in there. We saw that picture with her chewing the apple. She was eager to get back in there. Was she ready? We don't know. We have no idea. What was everyone's take? Because I do feel the emotion all throughout today that everyone was, like Frenchy said, in shell shock. I mean, I don't want to say upset, but I was in shock at the way that it all went down.
I was devastated virtually. I was practically in mourning. I was so mad last night, and I woke up angry. Legit, I woke up angry. I was like, why am I in such a bad mood? Oh, wait, because Ronda Rousey got, destroyed last night. But you know what really gets me so mad? Is, all these people talking so much shit saying, well, Ronda Rousey's a one-trick pony. Ronda Rousey did she beat, girls that were, it was in the beginning, and that's complete horse shit. I mean, the girls that she were beating, if you're going to call Sarah McMahon. Thank you for saying this. I appreciate it. If you're going to call Sarah McMahon.
An Olympic wrestler.
Thank you very much. An Olympic wrestler. You're going to call Liz Carmouche, who is
part of the Army.
She was a Marine.
A Marine.
And she's a fantastic freaking fighter. Kat Zingano. I could go down the list of girls that Ronda Rousey decimated. So that doesn't mean that she's not a great fighter. It just means that she's not fighting the right fight, and she needs to get more well-rounded and get with better coaches.
It was kind of like Christmas this morning. You wake up and you go on Facebook, and then
See all those memes.
these memes and don't get me wrong. Can we swear in here?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. So
this is iTunes. Brother.
Sorry. All right. Well, yeah. They're fucked up, and in some sense hilarious.
Yeah. It was like, here we go again with these ridiculous memes of Ronda. Well, first off, I think we all saw one of our. We'll go around the table right now, guys. We'll start with Frenchy. Frenchy, what was your first your favorite meme of Ronda Rousey? I got mine, and I think it might trump yours.
It probably will, but so we were actually on the train today to go to see the fights, and I was scrolling through the news feed, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen Pocahontas, the
flying hummingbird.
The Disney version. So
the speaking raccoon.
Yes. So there's the weeping willow tree or the Mother Nature tree, whatever you want to call her, and there's a picture of Ronda getting punched, and it's like
her face is all swollen and bloated up.
It's just all like shriveled, and it was bad. But I love Ronda. Great.
What about you, Kerry? What was your favorite meme?
The one with her and her coach Edmund standing next to her, and he's like, "Well, I guess I should tell you, I'm really not a good boxer."
I didn't see that one.
And she's standing there like Eeyore looking, like her head's down, and he looks like, "Well, I guess I should have told you I suck at boxing coaching." Like, yeah.
In case you didn't know, and this is a call for all, make sure you listen to your mother. That is the lesson out of all this. Listen
Mama
to your mom,
knows
guys.
best. Mama Rousey knew best. She said, "You leave him," and this is also a woman advice from one woman to everybody out there, and this is like the best advice ever. Is like, if your mom and your friends and family are telling you somebody or something isn't good for you, listen.
Well, my favorite meme, honestly, guys, we all know those inflatable dancing things outside of like car salesmen, where it's like, come in now, for sale, big deal, Sunday. And there was a picture of one of those things flailing in the wind, and then there was a picture of Ronda Rousey with her back up against the cage, falling over with her arm out,
matching
like
it completely.
Literally looking just like one of the. They show those things all the time in Family Guy. In Family Guy.
Absolutely.
Wait,
Wait,
can I dance?
You're like, I'm not dancing.
With my half arms at work.
It works.
It was the arm flail of the century with the memes going on. With as soon as Ronda Rousey got pushed up against the cage, she made a ridiculous pose. But let's not forget, guys, Ronda, as much as I feel bad about all of this, Ronda did this to all of her opponents. Ronda Rousey made all these other girls look the same way that she looked last night. But there's some sense of me that feels like I was so nervous going into this. I was like, Ronda really needs to win. I mean, she really needed to win, or else she was going to be completely deflated from the public.
The public has zero faith or anything in her.
This is an unforgiving sport.
She's getting completely. It really, I say it all the time. MMA fans are absolutely the worst. Some of them. Sorry, some of you guys are really cool, but brutally, some of the worst opinionated fans on somebody's career. When it's that girl has so many accolades. It goes far beyond UFC and Strikeforce. I mean, she was Tough Enough bantamweight champion. I believe she held a title in King of the Cage, Hard Knocks. And
she's been doing it since 2011. She's been pro.
So people could sit there and say whatever they want about her, and then she was in the amateurs too. So she's done it all, and the Olympics. Who the fuck else has done that?
Oh, Ronda's been pro since 2012. But Amanda's been doing it for even longer than Ronda's been in the MMA game. But we've seen her lose before. Yeah. We saw her lose to Kat Zingano. We saw her in a very close fight with Valentina Shevchenko. We'll be talking about that in a couple of minutes. What we think will happen next. Of course, Valentina was just on the podcast, you guys know, a couple weeks ago. But like you were just saying with my listeners out there, MMA fans are brutal. Luckily, here on Pure Evil MMA, we have some diehard fans that will agree with us here that, MMA fans are not forgiving. If you're in a position like Ronda Rousey was in last night and you lose the way that you lost, that was the worst thing that could have happened for you. I mean, of course, as soon as that happened, we all knew a flood of memes were going to pour in, even worse in the Holly home. So the question here now is, guys, is this the end of Ronda Rousey as we know it? Frenchy, I'm going to start with you.
Well, all right. Well, I would like to say no. I hope no. I just hope it's an eye opener and that she needs to obviously switch camps and focus on other things. Obviously, she wasn't. I don't know what's going on with her. I think she needs to maybe start doing something else because she's not. That wasn't her last night. That was not her. And I think
she didn't look professional. She didn't look professional. She looked like she had never fought before in her life.
And you know what? And I like I'm a Rowdy
Ronda Rousey.
Rowdy Piper. No, I'm a Ronda fan.
That's actually her godfather.
Yes.
Did you know
Really?
that?
No shit.
That's her godfather.
So they're way more informed than I am, and I'm just here for.
I don't think a lot of casual fans knew that though.
No, but I mean, I think I'm still a big fan. I think she does great, and she's
the expectation was up there. And to lose like that is devastating.
Well, like we were said, throw her to the wolves. That's what he did, and that's not fair. I think she needs
someone of her caliber and what she did for him. That's not fair.
I think she just needs to be out there in getting back up in the ranks. Just because you lost, you lost, and I think you need to climb back up a little bit. You shouldn't get the hardest fight. I mean, Nunes killed it. Honestly, I have nothing to say bad about her. I can't. She came in that fight prepared and ready to do her thing. So,
Kerry, what do you have to say about this? Is this the end of Ronda Rousey as we know, or are you going to agree with Frenchy? You think she will come back at some point? This was just a bad matchup.
As much as.
But keep in mind, she took that Holly Holm knockout awful, and this was 10 times worse.
Well, that is my thing. Is that yes, she took the Holly Holm knockout terribly, but she's been through it. You know what I mean?
This is the second time she's dealing with a loss.
I think she might deal with it a little bit better, considering she dealt with it incredibly and came back. And but you know what? If she deals with it and deals with it a little bit differently and humbles herself and gets way better coaches and goes to a different camp, and I would completely leave and go somewhere else completely and start over virtually in that respect. I think she can come back. But I mean, I think she's already like that. I should hope that Holly Holm loss was enough that she, that was enough of a blow, and this won't be so bad. I hope.
Well, you know what? They were. Can you say something?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, we're on a podcast.
Yeah, I just want to interrupt you. I don't.
No, you're not allowed.
You got something good? Spit it out. We all want to hear it.
You know what? But losing is a part of life.
Absolutely.
You're not always gonna win, and that's the part of life. And I think that she's been so dominant that she just thinks that's going to happen every single time. I think to get into like the realization of really perfecting her art a little bit more. I think we really
all fall down.
We do, and it's sad, but it's life and it's truth. So I think we need to really embrace her, support her, and give her and not just hate on her. Yeah, I think she's a person as well. I mean, obviously, she did really well, and she got there with fighting through everything. So I think we need to give her a little bit more props and just support her a little bit more, and not hate on her so much. I think it's easy to say and do, but you're not there in that ring. You're not that person. So.
Well, she dealt with that Holly Holm loss very roughly. Of course, Kerry's over here saying that, well, she dealt with it one time. Maybe this time will be a little bit easier. Either way, at the end of the day, Ronda Rousey is not the Ronda Rousey of 2015, 2014, 2013 anymore because of that knockout right now. Even if she does come back, it's going to take a lot out of Ronda Rousey if she comes back. Does she have that in her? I mean, they were really trying to set this up as
her comeback.
Already. She's back. They didn't promote Amanda that much.
I know.
And the other issue here is they set up Holly Holm versus Jermaine Durandamine for the 145-pound title, almost like, all right, Ronda, get your belt back, and then we'll give you the rematch without risk of losing your belt again.
Yes.
And that is completely out the window now. Would you guys really want to see Ronda Rousey versus Chris Cyborg? Now, after seeing that happen, I feel like Ronda Rousey wouldn't even have a chance at this point.
No.
Is this an issue? Yes, it is. What needs to change? Ronda Rousey's coaching needs to change. Travis Brown, Ronda, run. Run. You need to get away. Everyone's saying it. Something needs to change here. You can come back. Don't get us wrong. You can come back. But you need to change something about yourself. The way you're dealing with all of this, you looked like a fish out of water last night. What's going on?
But I mean, there's also like a tour. I mean, like he was out for a little bit, and then he came back, and he had some hard fights. And I mean, he's a veteran, but he knows the game. Couture, Randy Couture.
Oh, Randy, yeah.
Yeah, he was out for a little bit, came back, but that was just because of just...
Who we all saw tonight.
Yes, we did.
Love the American guy, dude.
Good pictures of him,
Dude, he's I wish I actually got to like go up and like talk to him, but
Captain America.
Yeah, dude,
he's awesome.
Dude, he was great. So,
I love Randy Couture.
But I mean, when he came,
and Chuck Liddell, who was cutting off people for the taxi, apparently. Wait, guys, we had a breaking news while we were stuck on the train for an hour. Let's just remind our listeners of that because we barely even touched on any of this. So, before we were
Rest in peace to the people in that accident in Cold Spring.
We were on our way, leaving, World Series of Fighting on the train, and our train got stopped for an hour. An hour. And then we got an official report that Chuck Liddell was cutting people off for the taxis in front of Madison Square Garden. Now, Frenchy, you're saying that Ronda Rousey needs to change a couple of things. You're saying that, Randy Couture went through all of this.
But no, it wasn't like necessarily that. I mean, but like when Randy came back, they gave him some hard fights. I mean, he didn't get really devastated. When he came back, it was just like he just, he did his thing like he always does. I fucking love the guy. And
he was the oldest man to ever win the belt.
Dude, and you know what? There's something about like his character.
Old man.
I don't know what he did.
He went not bad.
Yeah, not bad for an old man. Not bad for an old man.
But he's, I think he has a great character about him, and he's.
Did you see him
But he went through a lot of like some losses. Like when he came back, and he eventually, obviously retired a couple, matches after when he came back. But it just was like Brock Lesnar. Like he was like whatever. He's like I don't care about Brock. Like whatever. Like I'll fight big dudes. I don't. He's just a champ. He's
awesome.
He's a tough guy. Yeah.
And that was Brock's fourth fight where he beat Randy and won the title. That was his fourth professional fight ever. Beating Heath Herring or whatever, but
he wasn't he also an all-American wrestler and stuff?
Yeah.
So it's not like
it's not like he's an amateur about wrestling. He's a big fucking dude, and like
he's a fucking Sub-Zero coming after you.
Yeah,
he's that big,
dude. I mean, I'm not a big guy, but if that guy grabbed me, like holy,
you're done.
Shit.
You're done.
Yeah, I mean,
he
like
would
even
pick you up and toss you
with
like
one arm, like probably one
arm.
arm. Honestly, I mean that's a big dude. And for
I'm
Randy
his
Couture,
arm.
I mean, Randy Couture's
Dude,
like
I'm
big.
one of
He's
his
not
arms.
like huge.
Well, since we're on the subject of Brock Lesnar here, guys, another fighter who dealt with a loss for his debut in the UFC against Frank Mir, where he got submitted by that heel hook.
Yeah.
He was hyped up so much coming in. All right, this guy's coming from WWF. Look at CM Punk. Look at CM Punk. But you know what?
I kind of compared Ronda Rousey's performance to CM Punk.
Because she looked like a fish out of water. But my point here is, Brock Lesnar was hyped up. He came in and he lost, and he came back and then became a champion. So, honestly, guys, Ronda Rousey, she can come back, but in the public's eye, and that's my point right here. Before we move on any further, in the public's eye, it's going to take more than one more fight to come back to get what she already had.
Yeah.
That is a big point right here.
They've already written her off. If you look at like all the MMA media, they've already written her off again.
And that's another issue. She didn't want to talk to the media. And let me rebuttal. Let me rebuttal.
Nobody wants to talk about getting your ass kicked. Come on, what the fuck? Like, let me just stand there and be just like humiliated by all the questions you guys are gonna ask me. No, thank you.
I understand her issue with some of the media out there. I'm not going to name names or anything, but there are people after her loss with Holly Holm. They were all over her, and it seemed like she would never return again. And this was before all of this happened, but it seemed like the career was over of Ronda Rousey. But before that, they were all good, close, praising her. They were her yes men. The media was Ronda Rousey's yes men.
Money talks. So that's about it.
They gave them all a lot of her time.
She did the embeddeds. I mean,
She
she did
didn't
some of
have
the more
to.
promoting than anyone in
She
the
didn't
UFC.
have to.
I gave her a pass here.
Yeah.
I mean, all my listeners know. I said, you know, this time around, if Ronda needs to focus on her fight, she doesn't want to talk with us, that's fine. She's doing the embeddeds. I'm seeing what I need to see. I just want her to go in there and perform to her top notch. This was a huge issue. And quickly, before we move on to the rest of UFC 207, what's your last thoughts about Ronda Rousey here?
You know what? Honestly, like I really hope she comes back, and I really hope people give her the respect that she deserves, because she's not getting it, which is really disgusting. Again, she didn't pioneer women's MMA. She pioneered women's MMA today of what it is. Dana White has said on multiple
She opened
occasions.
up plenty of doors for not just one group, but for women's MMA,
yes.
and bringing in a whole new group of
Yes.
fans and public eye.
So she's not the pioneer in general, but she is the pioneer of women's MMA of today because of what she's done. Now, when I say it to a lot of people, she's transcended MMA, which no other fighter has been able to done yet. I mean, they're coming close, but she's magazine covers, movies, she does everything. So that's why when I said she could be a bigger draw than Conor McGregor, and I had people go, I said, no, that last night might have been a bigger draw than Conor McGregor. Everybody that I know that went out was going out at 9 o'clock and couldn't get a seat at the place. And they're all like, dude, it's 9 o'clock. I'm like, it's Ronda Rousey. They're like, I don't understand. I'm like, she is everywhere. People know who she is all over. Everybody knows her name. Everybody. That's why.
Well known.
That's why.
My final thoughts. I just hope that she decides to take this as a lesson. Comes back. I hope they start her off, a little lower in the ranks. Honestly, I think that she needs to work her way back up. You can't have somebody out for that long in a game, no matter what it is. Any sport. Any sport. I used to play football. I was out for, a few years. Came back, and it's like getting back into the motions. It's just not the same, and especially like practice. Practice is different. It's not full speed. It's not always like the kill. It's a whole different game. So when you actually get on the field and
Especially if Edmund Taverdi is your coach.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, believe me, I had some shitty football coaches, so I know exactly how it goes. So I think that she needs to change camps. And I think that she has a chance to come back and just destroy it. I think she really does. I think if she comes back on a lower level and not trying to be like the hype person the UFC wants her to be, then yeah, I think there's hope for her. I really do, honestly.
Well, here is the big issue, guys, and this is what I want you guys all to let us know here at Pure Evil MMA. So make sure you tag us at Pure Evil MMA on Twitter and Facebook, facebook.com/Pure Evil MMA. Let us know what you think is going to happen next. Who do you guys think Ronda's going to fight next, or if she'll even return? Do you guys think Ronda's going to return? Let us know at Pure Evil MMA.
Radio.
Absolutely a blast hanging out with them. I'll probably be posting the entire Fight Companion for you guys. Maybe here in Podbean and iTunes, maybe on YouTube. I'll let you know at some point, but we had a blast, man, and you can definitely hear it. I don't know about you guys, but that was one of the best events of the year. And I know you say that a lot, but the energy in that Cody No Love fight versus Dominic Cruz is one that you're going to remember forever. Let me promise you that. This is a fight that you're going to look back on. Dominic Cruz, man, losing the belt, getting emotional, and he handled it very well. I give him props there. Not a lot of people were expecting Cody No Love to win it. And then, of course, Ronda going out the way she was, just got pummeled. I wasn't expecting it. I had a bunch of fighters from ATT on to, give you their take, and they all said Amanda, of course. And, Jesus, Amanda staples herself as a dominant champion. This is now a new era in the UFC. Let's go into 2017. But first, before we break our tide into the 2017 show, we got some UFC Pick'em winners to discuss. Let's drop right into that.
Since 1993,
MMA fighters from all over the world have gone into battle, shedding blood, sweat and tears to prove that they are worthy of holding the title of champion. At every UFC event, as the fighters throw down in the octagon for our entertainment, each hoping to validate that they are the best by someday having a UFC belt strapped around their waist. A second competition rages amongst the Pure Evil army for the right to lay claim to the prestigious Crystal Skull belt, for ultimate pick-em bragging rights over their evil brothers and sisters in arms. And this week, after climbing their way to the top of the Pure Evil ranks, the prominent honours of the Crystal Skull are awarded to...
Well, after a crazy year of UFC Pick'em, our final winner, and someone who really wanted it, guys, it's our evil sister Leslie, taking home the Crystal Skull in 2016. Absolutely amazing, because she was literally calling out, like, I really want to win the final event. And Leslie, you got it. Our all-around winner, though, and I'm not going to forget to say this, it's actually Pat. Pat's back. Pat is back in the game, taking the all-around UFC Crystal Skull from the Pure Evil Army. Him and Leslie, make sure you guys give him a follow using hashtag Pure Evil MMA, and find him directly on the Pure Evil MMA channel. Good luck in 2017. Congratulations, guys.
Good morning.
All right, guys, we got an amazing guest coming up right now who has an exciting fight. Always puts on exciting fights, by the way. All these fighters do. Kevin Sears, let's jump into it. Guys, we got our next guest of the night, Kevin Sears, King KEVI, a.k.a. Blackness, a.k.a. Kimbo. And he's got an upcoming fight January 14th against Kelvin Tiller, who we'll be having on the show very soon. You're on a 3-fight win streak right now, man. What do you got going into this fight? How are you preparing for it?
Oh man, I'm preparing like I prepare for every fight. You know, just training hard in the gym every day, going hard. You know, just doing my thing, doing what you're supposed to do, being a real fighter. You know, I don't have another job. This is my job, so I just train and train hard. Just get to the gym.
Well, it seems like you train at ATT and you also train at Child's Play MMA. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, I was training at American Top Team Altitude with Bobby Lashley and Alex Huddleston for a while, but the gym ended up getting shut down, so he got a new gym out in Parker, but then I ended up migrating over to Child's Play MMA, where I'm now with Vern Howard and a Team Machine. Great group of guys.
Yeah, man. So what have you guys been doing in preparing for this? Are you somebody that likes watching your opponent's tape? Do you leave that up to your coaches? How do you go about, preparing for a fight once you find out who your opponent is?
Oh, man, I prepare for the fight all the same. You know, I could care less on video about my opponents. You know, I don't train for my opponents. I train to just finish fights, you know, so I'm not even worried about what he's bringing to the table or what he's got. I have seen a couple videos on him. You know, I heard about the fight maybe like 2 hours before I took it. You know, some guy told me he had a fight for me, Kevin Tiller. I was like, all right, let me look him up. You know, I typed it in my computer, seen him. I was game. You know, I was like, let's do this, you know. He has a great record. I'm all about progressive fights. And, you know, let's just get it in. That's what this is all about, you know. It's my time now, not later.
So, listen, man, I saw that you had a picture with Mike Tyson that you took. Where was that? And, what did you talk with him about?
Oh, yeah, Mike Tyson, yeah, man, it was a great, amazing experience. I was down in Las Vegas for the UFC Fan Expo competing in the Grappler's Class tournament for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Mike Tyson was there just enjoying the show. You know, I was in the parking lot, you know, just preparing, listening to my music, and boom, there was Mike Tyson walking up to the venue to watch some grappling events, and you know, I caught him on the side, and I was like, yo, man, what's up? Can I get your picture? You know, I approached him as a fan, and you know, we were talking, and I was like, I'm a huge fan of yours, and yada, yada, yada. I'm going to take all your power right now since you're not using it. So, you know, we shook hands, we hugged, and, you know, we went our ways. It was an amazing experience to meet that man.
So was he one of your idols growing up? Because it's been a crazy year, and I see that your name's, your fight name's King KEVI, aka Blackness, aka Kimbo. And Kimbo passed away this year. Muhammad Ali passed away this year.
Yeah, for sure. It's Kimbo Jr. I'm not the real Kimbo. I like to consider myself Kimbo Jr. because, I did exactly what Kimbo used to do back in street fight, so that's why I kind of took up that name, my friends gave me that name, Kimbo Jr., because once I seen that guy fighting, online, of course everybody else wants to start fighting, so I kind of picked that up in the streets.
Dude, it's the same for everyone that grew up. We saw this guy, Kimbo, on YouTube before we even knew what YouTube even was, and he was going out there punching dudes' eyes out, just absolutely destroying people. And then he was on that season of Ultimate Fighter.
Ultimate Fighter, yep.
And now his son's fighting for Bellator. Growing up, having somebody like Kimbo, and then our parents' generation having somebody like Muhammad Ali. What else inspired you about Kimbo? Was it his street fights? And because a lot of people thought that he was just a thug and a street fighter, but really, and they highlighted this on that season of Ultimate Fighter, that he's a great guy at heart.
Oh yeah, man, he's an amazing guy. Honestly, man, I started out in high school wrestling, I picked up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu growing up, I really wasn't taking it serious. And then I seen this YouTube sensation, Kimbo Slice, knocking fools out in the backyard for money. That was the main thing, he was getting paid to fight people, and, so every time he fought somebody, he got paid. So I kind of thought about it. I was like, man, I've been in a lot of street fights. I'm like, we might as well get paid for it, and try to start doing the same thing, get money and doing it. And then, honestly, Kimbo Slice was on the season Ultimate Fighter 10, I think, the heavyweights. And that's the whole reason why I went out to Vegas, is because they did the UFC Fan Expo, the very first one, back in, I think it was like 2007, I believe.
Yep.
And Kimbo was going to be there, and they were doing the first ever Fan Expo. So it was the craziest thing. So, I told my brother, I was like, dude, Kimbo's going to be there. We can meet all the fighters, chuckle it out. It was the first time UFC or MMA's ever did anything like this, where you can interact with the fighters. It was amazing. So we went out to the UFC Fan Expo, and we seen the lifestyle, man. It was amazing. The girls, the fans, how just the atmosphere all together. I was a fan before I was a fighter, so I went there as a fan, and I seen the lifestyle, and I was like, man, I know this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? So ever since then, I've been training every day.
Well, look at how far MMA's come, even since that first season of Ultimate Fighter with our boy Forrest Griffin, and of course the season that we're talking about right now, Kimbo. We had Schaub on there, we had Big Roy Nelson on there. But you make a great point here, Kevin, that the UFC did a great job promoting themselves outside of fighting with having these fan expos, getting to meet some of the fighters, and that's a huge part. And you have an upcoming fight for Shamrock FC 282 January 14th, and they've been doing a great job this year with promoting, Flow Combat and everything that they're doing. What do you think they can do better in 2017 to help promote you guys a little better? Like I said, they're doing a great job promoting and we can all do better at something. What can Shamrock FC do to, help promote these guys better, or anything at all? What do you think they should do in 2017 to make a quick change?
Honestly, man, 2017 is going to be a crazy year for everybody. We lost one of our main shows, Inside MMA, on TV, where we got more promotion, and where they would, highlight the smaller promotions like Shamrock FC and the highlights and all that great stuff. But man, we need to take it to another level, and we need to get this fighting on mainstream. Hopefully, we could be on TV. One day work out a deal with NBC, ABC, Fox, even. Just a regular sport. I one day hope to see this in the Olympics. Probably not in my time, but I'm thinking that this sport could be so big. Everybody's doing it in all the countries that one day it should be in the Olympics. So we just got to let people know more about it. Put a little bit more on TV. It's not as violent as everybody thinks it is. You know what I mean?
Well, look at the huge steps they took. World Series of Fighting. I'll be there this week ringside for that for New Year's Eve, and and now it's in New York. So, you know, people are becoming more aware. You're seeing Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor everywhere. You know, everyone knows who Dana White is. You know, even though half the people don't know whether he's a guy or a girl, they know who Dana White is. But it's just come.
Yeah, it's true. You know, the funny thing about World Series of Fighting is I should have been on that show in New York, even though I'm not on that show that's happening on the 31st. I had a scheduled fight with Prince Rama for November 12th here in Colorado, the same night that the UFC broke the records with Conor McGregor and Eddie Alvarez. So I was supposed to be fighting on the World Series card, co-main event, versus your boy Prince Rama, you know, with Jake Shields and John Fetch headlining.
Yep.
So that was the opportunity that I missed. And, you know, hopefully, you know, after this fight with Kelvin Tiller, you know, I'm not looking past him at all. He's a tough opponent. This fight should honestly be in the UFC, maybe even a bigger promotion, but I'm glad Shamrock FC offered me this opportunity, honestly. But come the 14th, this is probably going to be one of the biggest small promotion fights you guys are going to ever see. You know, 7-1 guy versus 6-2. And honestly, I should be undefeated right now. Both my losses were very questionable. You know what I mean?
So you make another great point, man. World Series of Fighting coming this week. How did you miss that fight? I mean, why didn't you take it? You had a fight coming up in Colorado, you said?
Yeah, so basically World Series of Fighting had scheduled a fight the same night. What they did is they scheduled this, they had a year in the making, so they were going to have this fight no matter what on the 12th, you know, a year ago. And then, you know, UFC came up and, you know, they're always battling with the smaller promotions trying to take them out. And they did the Conor McGregor, Eddie Alvarez. So basically, you know, Ray Seffel, you know, we sat down and talked, and he's like, you know, we're just going to let UFC do their thing. You know what I mean? And get their record-breaking promotion, you know, because nobody's going to tune in to watch, you know, World Series if Conor McGregor is fighting Eddie Alvarez at a crazy class. You know, everybody was anticipating this fight huge. So what they did is they called that fight off. They canceled it here in Denver, and they moved it over to New York City, the 31st. And I'm very disappointed because, you know, ever since that fight with the 12th, I took 2 fights on short notice. I took one fight on 1 week's notice and then another fight on 1 day's notice, and I destroyed both my opponents the first round. So, you know, I'm pretty disappointed I haven't got a call back from World Series, but, you know, after the 14th, you know, the world's going to know my name with or without them.
Well, like I said at the beginning of this interview, your opponent is going to be coming on you know, tonight, I believe, either tonight or tomorrow night, but it'll be on the same episode right here. Of course, he's going to be listening. His team's going to be listening. And if they're listening right now, is there any words to your opponent that you want him to hear?
You know, not really. You know, Kelvin Tiller's just a fighter, just like me. You know, trying to make it in life. You know, we're fighting because, you know, it's something we're passionate about. I don't have anything to say to him besides train hard and, you know, show up on the 14th and let's bang it out. You know, nothing but respect to him and his team, and, you know, and I'm happy for the opportunity. That's about it.
Well, man, I have to ask, or my listeners will grab me by the throat and throw me over the cliffs if I don't ask you if you have a prediction for this fight.
Knockout first round.
I love it.
Minute.
Saved it right there with that one, Kev. Thank you so much for coming on Pure Evil MMA. What I like to do at this point in our interview is I hand the imaginary microphone over to our guest. If you have any shout outs, anything that I missed, sponsors, social media where our listeners can find you on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, anything.
Yeah, for sure.
The floor is now yours, brother.
Yeah, right on. Hey, guys, I want to appreciate everybody that's listening in with me and my main boy, you know, on the radio station. We're just chilling over here in Denver, Colorado. You know, if you guys want to find me, all you got to do is Google me, Kevin Ray Sears MMA. Very simple. I got Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I got all the good stuff. If you guys are really interested in getting to know me, you know, you can. You know, I'm a very open, cool person, and, you know, I'm going to be huge in this game. Remember my name now, Kevin Ray Sears Jr., because it's going to be something. Just give me 1 year, and I promise you, you guys will definitely know who I am.
Last question. How did you get this nickname of King KEVI, a.k.a. Blackness, a.k.a. Kimbo? Just explain that really quick.
All right, blackness, I got in high school. I was the only black kid in my school. I went to a little small hick town, so, everybody called me blackness, only black kid there. And then, King KEVI, that's just my name. I'm destroying everybody. I'm the king of MMA. And Kimbo Jr., I got in the streets fighting backyard, brawls, doing my thing, so people call me Kimbo Jr., nothing special. I'm just a fighter, like I said, trying to make my way. I want to give a shout-out to Child's Play MMA here in Colorado, represent, and Shamrock FC, Kansas City, Missouri. I'm coming for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy the show because it's going to be a crazy one. I want to blink for 1 second.
Well, there you go, guys. Kevin Sears, who's going to be fighting January 14th against Kelvin Tiller at Shamrock FC 282. We'll keep you posted. We'll be covering that fight. Kevin, I want to thank you so much for coming on Pure Evil MMA.
Yeah. This is Kevin Ray Sears Jr., a.k.a. King KEVI, with Pure Evil MMA. At your boy.
All right, guys. It's time for Members of the Week.
Simply the best.
The Pure Evil MMA army is taking over, uniting fans, followers, MMA fighters and elite evil family contributors from all over the world. And this is a call to all MMA fans. Your opinions count and we want to hear from you. Use hashtag PureEvilMMA on Twitter or leave a comment on any video or article on the Facebook page or YouTube channel. Find your voice and come join the ranks of the Pure Evil MMA army. Like these soldiers of the week, ready to receive a shout-out salute from Evil Eddie himself.
Why, thank you, Minion. We got some Members of the Week. Of course we do. We got at NREMTV. Our boy Nick, who's actually an EMT and great artist. He sent us a bunch of pictures for Pure Evil MMA. Make sure you guys check him out on our Facebook page and also on our Twitter page. Thank you so much, Nick. You guys should definitely give him a follow at NREMTV. And also, our last winner for Members of the Week is Ann. Make sure you guys give her a follow at Chillzone95 on Twitter. All right, guys, our next guest is actually going to be fighting our first guest and actually set the show up perfectly so we could do that. After this, we got 2 more guests who are fighting each other. I thought that was a pretty fun idea. We're going to roll with it. Let's see what happens here. Kelvin Tiller from Shamrock FC coming up right now.
Hello, sir. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome, man. You staying warm?
I like the cold, so.
Well,
I don't like the heat at all.
Well, you got an upcoming fight. We can't wait for it. Shamrock FC 282. You'll be fighting in the main event against Kevin Sears, who we actually got to speak with. How are you getting ready for this fight? What have you, been practicing? What have you been up to lately? Can you let our listeners in on a day in the life of Kelvin Tiller?
Oh, man, I've been training 2 times, 3 times a day. Doing crazy stuff, running with 50 pounds on my back for 5 miles, 6 miles.
Wow.
I was training with a sniper, an ex-sniper, and he had done a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And, training 2-3 times a day, CrossFit, yoga, just go kickboxing, wrestling. Just a lot of training. Not working right now, so just really just putting in the time to get ready for my fight. So.
Well, where are you? Are you in Kansas right now?
I am in Kansas. I'm training out. I live in Kansas City, Kansas, but I'm training out of Lawrence, Kansas. That Lawrence Fight Club and Boucher and Thomas Thatcher.
So, can you tell all of our listeners what it's like to live out in Kansas? Because we got listeners all over the world, from Brazil, Jamaica, Canada, Germany. What's Kansas like? If I went to Kansas, what would you recommend me to do?
I don't know, man. I can't really answer that question. I got kids, man. So I don't get out too much. And, I try to stay out of trouble, and I live in the hood, so I figure stuff a lot. So I don't know, man. I don't like I said, I don't get out too much, so I wouldn't know what to do. Yeah, regular stuff you do everywhere. Bowling, the lake, paintballing, stuff like that. So we don't got no mountains and no beaches here. So Don't come to play.
Well, you've been pro since 2011. You fought in Bellator, World Series of Fighting. Are you looking to keep moving forward to hopefully the UFC or even back into Bellator or World Series of Fighting? I was just there in New York for New Year's Eve. They put on a great show. If you win this fight, you're fighting in the main event for Shamrock FC. Do you think you'll be moving up back up to Bellator or UFC hopefully in the next year or so?
Yes, for sure. I would like to get into either or. Whoever calls me first, I would like to. Whoever's talking the most money, I'd like to get everybody in this year. I want to get my first weight fight, of course. I want to test the waters. I'm Kevin Sears. Hopefully call out the top 5 in the Midwest and just keep working my way up there. But if I get the phone call from Bellator UFC, best believe I'm not turning no fights down.
Well, you got a great record behind you, man, 7-1. But everyone was asking. I told all my listeners that I was going to be interviewing you, and they had to know how you got the nickname of the Mama's Boy.
Well, I mean, for most, people that grew up with their moms, my dad wasn't around. My mom worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs, to take care of me and my 3 sisters, and we didn't have much help growing up, and she was just always there through my, the good, bad, and the ugly, and she never turned her back on me when I was messing up in school. Just get suspended, fighting. I had my first son at the age of 16, and she's always had great advice for me. She was just always stuck by my side, and I was stuck by her side. And my sisters, I'm the youngest out of 4, and I got 3 other sisters, and they always call me just a little mama's boy. You always run to tell mama everything. You always run to tell mama, and so she always been my rock. So I just my first fight, my coach at the time, Shane Hutchinson, he looked at me. He was like, "What's your nickname?" So I don't got one. He said, "Your mama's here." I said, "Yeah." Let's just call you the Mama's Boy. I said, "Well, all right," and it's been like that ever since.
Well, listen, man, we just saw on one of the past seasons, The Ultimate Fighter, he finally stepped into the octagon for his debut, for the finale. His mom was octagon side, and he got choked out. He was getting choked out. His mom started screaming. He was like, "Oh, man, I'm getting embarrassed. Mom, chill out. Be quiet." Does your mom freak out watching you fight or what?
Yeah, my mom, I think she used to. I think she's gotten a lot better now. When I first started it, I didn't even know. When I had my first fight, I fought 22 days after walking into a gym.
Wow.
I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I just knew that I just dropped out of college. I didn't want to sell drugs no more, and I wanted to, do something better for my son. So fighting is something I've always been into. I've always done. So I just hopped right into it, and at first she was just super nervous, and to the point where sometimes she said she couldn't really breathe, and she couldn't gather her thoughts together. But now she sees me train. Over the last 8 years, 8.5 years, she sees me train. She sees me she sees me slam people. She sees me get my jaw broken. She slammed on my neck. So she's pretty much seen it all. And I've always bounced back. I've always, took mine like a man and held my head up high and kept walking. So she's a lot smoother than what she used to be now.
Well, did I hear that right? You walked into the cage or the ring 22 days after your first gym, your first training session. What was that like, man?
Yes, 22 days. I just jumped out of college.
Yeah.
And the guy, his name was Alpha Tapasua, the brother of Gary Tapasua. I believe he's off of Bellator also, Gary. And he was 4-0 as a kickboxer, MMA fighter, I'm sorry. And I just coming straight off the street, no technique, no nothing. The only thing that I was in shape because I went to Allen County Community College for track. And so, of course, I was running a shit ton. I don't know how much I was running. So we woke up every day at 5 o'clock, just ran, lift weights. So I wasn't really in fight shape, but my body was in shape at the time. And, they needed a last-minute replacement, and I said, and I went in there and I killed the guy in the second round. Ever since then, everybody around this area has known who I am.
So probably the biggest part where you were most nervous was, making your walk out there. But once you stepped in there, what were the emotions like that you're going through? Was it like, oh, I can do this. This is definitely something I can do. Or was it like, oh, what did I get myself into? Oh, what was going through your head? I know that you won, but, what was that first round like? Because that must have felt longer than what it was.
I can tell you this, man. I have been jumped I've been shot at. I have on me. I've had cops choke me before. And there's nothing like the feeling about you think you're about to lose your life. You know, so when I step into a cage, I absolutely have no fear. Slightly nervous just to get in there. I have more excitement just to get in there and put on a show for people. You know what I mean? To just perform. Because I've always been a performer. I used to dance. When I ran track, I ran 100 meter, 200 meter, and I'll be beating everybody. I'll raise my hands, just wave to the crowd before I knew it once. I've always been a performer. You know what I mean? Entertainer. As far as a fight, me going 100% that I'm going to walk out of there alive is A-okay with me. So I never had that doubt in my mind. I was just happy that I found something physical without going to jail afterwards. You know what I mean? So I can kick somebody, I can knee somebody, I can slam somebody. If you can't take me to jail for it, and I can eventually get paid for it, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to take this up, man. I'm going to try this, and we're going to get it all. Let's see where this goes.
And most of all, you don't have to worry about your mom dragging you up by the ear because you got into some, fight at school or something.
Oh, man, you are right about that.
So, man, it sounds like you grew up, in the inner city. I'm here in the inner city in New Haven, Connecticut. Do you have a positive message for the kids out there that, I got a little sister in high school right now, and of course she's going through, she lives in the city, she's going through, a school in the city, and a lot of kids out there, they don't take school seriously, they get involved in things that they think are cool or misleading at their age. What do you have a positive message for, any of our younger listeners out there that, kind of fool around but are thinking about fighting? Or what's your message to them?
As far as them, it would be just to commit to as far as where I come from the ghetto, from the hood, from the slums, where I see crackheads every day, and jack boys and dope dealers every day. From those are people that I really speak to mostly, because that's where I come from, and from them, I would like to tell them that when you skip in school, when you're smoking, and when you're hanging out with 50, 60 people, and everybody's cool, like 10 years from now, you probably could be alone, So focus on yourself, focus on school, focus on what really matters in school, and life, I guess you could say, because school is not teaching us everything that we need to know. That's a whole different story, but really just focus on yourself, be the best you that you can be, learn how to love yourself early in life, in middle school and high school. Because, like I say, after high school, that's when it really gets hard. We're so eager to get out the house. Oh, I can't wait. My mom is going to let me go out. She won't let me go out and party. Well, I can't wait till I'm 18. I'm leaving. But then we realize 18 and until we die is the rough part. You know what I mean? But, just don't rush being a grown up. You know what I mean? Don't rush being a grown up. Don't rush the life that you think you want to live. Your parents got to where they got to, by being smart, have the knowledge, and so just listen, you know what I mean? So, like I say, just love yourself and be the best that you can be, because, like I said, at the end of the day, a lot of times we only have ourselves and make our own decisions. So, do what's right now and make your living, retire at 40, then you can go do all of that crazy shit. Do it while you got a fat bank account. Don't wait till you're 40, 50 trying to get your life together. So, yeah.
Yeah, man, we see that a lot, and it scares me seeing my little sister in high school thinking this is cool and that's cool, and I'm like, oh my God, I went through that same thing, and if I could only, go back in time. But you know what, man? You got an upcoming fight. You're doing awesome, and you're definitely a role model for a lot of people to look up to, especially us mama's boys out there. So, So coming up for your fight, man, what can all of our listeners and your fans expect once you step into the cage?
Oh, man, they can just expect fireworks. Just a beautiful destruction. Basically, I do everything to perfection. I train to perfection. My jab, my leg kicks, my body shots. I train to be better than everyone. Not just my opponent I'm fighting next Saturday, but for everyone. So you can always expect to finish out of me. So the finish will come, but until the finish comes, enjoy.
one of my last questions to you, of course, we're just coming off a new year. What was your New Year's resolution, and what did you do for New Year's? Did you, were you in the gym most of the day, or did you spend it with your children, your mom? What did you do for New Year's, and what was your New Year's resolution?
I actually went out with my mother. We shot pool till about 2 o'clock in the morning. And we both went home after that. But as far as a New Year's resolution, I would like to go 5-0 as a heavyweight, and then get the big call before 2018. So I didn't set like a high standard, but it's big for me. So yeah, get into the Bellator to UFC before the end of the year. Make some good money.
So you were a light heavyweight, and you're fighting at heavyweight now, right?
Yes, sir.
What made you make that change?
Oh well, I was cutting 40 pounds, sometimes 40 plus pounds.
That's brutal.
In a matter of 2-3 weeks, and it was brutal. It hurt on the body, man, and I don't want to take years off on my body that I don't need to be taken off right at the moment. Like I said, I got kids, and my kids do sports and basketball and gymnastics, so I want to be around for them. So I just decided, I'm only 26 years old, so I just decided to make the heavyweight jump. I don't got to cut weight no more. I feel good. I feel great, and every fight that you've ever seen any of my fights, every fight, it's been stressed leading up to that fight. 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 40 plus pounds. There's always been that stress. Always. But now, and I've always performed well, even in my worst performance. So even my loss in Vegas, I've always performed well. But now I don't have to worry about cutting no weight. So my guy Kevin Sears think that, he may think that I'm smaller or might not be as strong. This is heavyweight is my home. So he's going to have a long night with me. I promise you that.
Yeah. Well, we can't wait for it. We're going to be tuning in. What we like to do at this point in the interview is hand the imaginary microphone over to our guest. If you have any shout outs, any sponsors, your social media tags, of course, that's really important. The floor is all yours now.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Kelvin the Mama's Boy Tiller. You can catch me on Instagram at just the King Tiller. You can catch me on Facebook, just Kelvin Tiller. Instagram, Kelvin Tiller. And yeah, man, just be ready for an exciting fight and come and enjoy. I love you all. This is Kelvin Tiller, and you're listening to Pure Evil MMA.
All right, guys, it's time for some Pure Evil MMA weekly news. First off, I'm starting it off strong here because this is trending on Twitter. Everyone's freaking out about it. I don't know what you guys all think about it, but I know you know what I'm about to say. Meryl Streep going in there, bashing MMA, saying Hollywood is crawling with outsiders and foreigners, and if you kick us all out, you'll have nothing to watch except for football and mixed martial arts, which are not arts. Meryl Streep said that, and this is my response to this. And then I'm going to read you Mayhem's response because it's badass. But you know what? For her to say that if you lock out foreigners, all you're going to have is mixed martial arts. What are you talking about, lady? You clearly have no idea what you're talking about. Leave the whole art thing outside of it, but just the foreign thing. Look at the roster. Look at the roster in the UFC. Look at the roster, especially in Bellator. What are you talking about? Some of the best champions of mixed martial arts are from Brazil. Conor McGregor, he's from Ireland. What are you talking about, lady? Mark Hunt, not from America. What is coming of this? This is not good publicity between Ronda Rousey losing and the media going crazy over that, and then this, Meryl Streep at the Golden Globes. Me and Ted are going to be discussing it on Wednesday night live on YouTube. We're going to talk all about it, but some people are saying that she's right, that the art in mixed martial arts actually refers to the set of skills, not creative expressions of humanity. So you can go back on not giving a shit about Meryl Streep now. That's what everyone's saying on there. And Mayhem, let's hear what Mayhem had to say. Dear Mrs. Streep, I heard your comments at the recent Golden Globes, and I must react, not with scorn or professional insult, but compassion and education. I realize that you and your compatriots in Hollywood don't understand most of us here in real America. So allow me to enlighten you. Mixed martial arts is the purest form of art. I speak from professional knowledge as I have been expressing myself in this way for 2 decades, and I find myself still learning and growing as an artist. For you to say that what we do is not an art, it's a slap in the face to many Americans, and does nothing to heal the divide between us. Instead of disrespecting football and mixed martial arts, why not step down from your pedestals of elites and understand what us commoners like and what we like it and why we like it. I respect you and your craft. If we hope to withdraw the wedge between left and right, we must all learn to respect and love one another, despite our differences. Differences in taste, differences in politics, differences in personage, rather than let it divide us. Rally in the fact that the differences is what makes America great in the first place. I hope you change your mind, as I would love to escort you to a mixed martial arts event one day. Sincerely, Mayhem. Badass, guys. That was a perfect response. And Scott Coker inviting her as well. Very professional. Dana White, on the other hand, was like, I don't care about Meryl Streep, and she clearly has no idea what she's talking about. Why are we even talking about Meryl Streep? Which brings me into my next segment, which I really don't want to talk about either, because it really has nothing to do with mixed martial arts or anything important that's really going on in the sport. It's kind of just BS news to take our minds off of stuff, but it's a good one for people who like rap and fighting, I guess. I mean, all right, let me tell you what's going on here. So, Soulja Boy and Chris Brown allegedly are going to be fighting in a pay-per-view event. Soulja Boy is going to be training with Mayweather, and then 50 Cent was like, you're training with Mayweather? Well, I'm going to hook my boy Chris Brown up with Mike Tyson. So Mike Tyson responds to all this, and he posts this on social media. You guys can find it yourself. Tyson responds, and he's saying, I'm going to come in, I'm going to help Chris Brown. We're going to beat the shit out of Soulja Boy, and I'm not going to teach him how to run like Mayhem's going to teach him. Perfect way to go out. This is, bringing in a lot of people talking, a lot of publicity. It's funny. Some dude on TMZ was even like, this is going to be the best fight I've ever been to. What, dude? What? Please don't say stuff like that. This is a freak fight. This is not a real fight. These are not real athletes. These are rappers. Yeah, it's fun. It's cool. I'm interested to see how many people will actually draw in on the pay-per-view numbers that will actually pay for this. But you got Mayweather, you got Tyson. That makes it fun. I mean, I wasn't that into it when they're waving their guns around at one another before this was actually matched up. But let me tell you something. Soulja Boy has a lot to learn here because he is one scrawny dude. Chris Brown, I believe, is going to wreck him. So let me know what you guys think about this on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA. Who's going to win this fight, and is this ridiculous or what? Let us know on Twitter. Some amazing fight announcements were just announced too, guys. Tyron Woodley is actually going to be fighting Wonder Boy for the second time at UFC 209, like expected. Earlier in the week, Wonder Boy was on Ariel Helwani's show, and he was saying that he kind of knew about this, a couple of weeks ago, but nothing was permanent. This should have been permanent since the second they walked out of the octagon with one another. I've been ranting and raving about this. I know that Woodley's been out there saying, I want Bisping. I want the big money fights with GSP. I want to fight Nick Diaz. What? I can't get my head around that because you have to go in there and defend your belt. There was just a draw. You can't feel confident about that. But then again, does that mean that he's afraid of Wonder Boy going in there and fight him again? I doubt it. I think he just wants bigger numbers. I think he wants a good payday. This will now be his second time back in the octagon. He wants a really big payday. He was just the co-main event. He wants something that would make him a main event pay-per-view draw and boost his ratings as well as a UFC champion. I'm not saying that he'd successfully defend it against Bisping, which I think he would, or GSP or Nick. But you gotta fight Wonder Boy, man. Wonder Boy worked so hard to get to that point. So did Woodley, but you can't leave us hanging like that. That whole journey of Wonder Boy getting to where he is right now, with all the spinning kicks and beating Johnny Hendricks, beating Rory McDonald. Come on. We need to figure out which one of you is the real champion. And a lot of people are rooting for Wonderboy. And I told you guys that night I was rooting for Wonderboy, but really I thought Woodley was going to take it. Like I said in the Cody Nola fight, Dominic Cruz, my heart was with Wonderboy, my head was with Woodley. And man, every time I pick against Woodley, he wins. Wonderboy, he wins. And every time I pick for Wonderboy, he loses. So this time I'm going with Woodley to win it. And I'm not saying I hope Wonderboy wins, but I kind of do. Once again, my heart is with Wonderboy, but my head is saying Woodley. As an MMA correspondent for FrontProofMedia.com, if you guys are listening to the podcast and you're basing your bets off of it, go with Woodley here. Hunt vs. Overeem has been announced as well. Mark Hunt actually filed, he's actually suing the UFC and Brock Lesnar about everything that happened. He thinks that he deserves some of the money. We talked about it on some of the past episodes, but he's finally and actually going through with this, has it all set up. And I think he definitely deserves some of that money. I mean, Brock Lesnar gets paid millions of dollars to step in there, but yet tests dirty. And now Mark Hunt has a loss on his record to another guy that tested dirty. That's not fair. And now he's going up against Overeem. So this guy just can't catch a break. I'm a huge Mark Hunt fan. That beautiful KO over Frank Mir earlier in the year, astonishing. You know, his fights with Bigfoot, crazy. The first one was crazy. The second one ended it quick. Who do you guys have in this fight, and what do you think about Mark Hunt filing a complaint and suing the UFC and Brock Lesnar? Is he going to win it? I don't know. We're going to keep you guys up to date on that. We'll also be talking on that on Evil Intoxicated this Wednesday night with Ted Check. And then we have Khabib versus Tony Ferguson. Now, don't jump your gun. I'm not saying that's a fight announcement. I'm saying that it's back on the back burner again. That Khabib's team saying, you know what, forget about it. You're trying to bribe this dude. There's no action. What the hell, UFC? Can you just put these two in the octagon, please? I know they tried earlier last year. Tony Ferguson was actually the one who got injured, not Khabib. You know, we waited 2 years for Khabib to come back. He goes in there dominant against Daryl Horcher, and then again, he just beat Michael Johnson. Tony Ferguson just beating RDA. Give it to him. Give these guys the fight. These guys shouldn't be giving up their own money out of their own pocket. This is the fight that we all want to see. I'm sure you guys all want to see. And it's what they want to see. Make it happen. And then the winner of that will fight Conor McGregor. What else can you really do? What else can you do in that division between those two guys? They're battling out for the number one contender spot. Ferguson, after his win with RDA, number one contender. And then Khabib goes in there, beats Michael Johnson. Now he's the number one contender. We don't know who the real number one contender is here. You have to make this fight happen. It's only right. UFC, what's holding you back here? Let's do this. And then finally, guys, there's a canceled UFC fight. It was a Fight Pass card for March 3rd, the night before UFC 209. There were no fighters actually on the card yet. But, you know, this week we're seeing UFC 209 ship up, and some people aren't too happy with it. I have no problem with it. I think they're doing a great job setting this card up so far, and we still have a lot more announcements to make with it. Don't judge it off 3. Come on. All right, so Ronda breaks her silence, guys. And like I said at the beginning of the podcast, she's taking this loss a little easier than she did last time. I mean, she hid after her last loss. Nobody even saw her till Easter, which was like a couple of months after her loss. And the way that she responded, too, was perfect, especially for my generation. I don't know if the older generations will really understand this, or people who don't know Harry Potter, that is, I guess. But I ain't afraid to admit it. And so rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life. J.K. Rowling. And of course, that is the quote J.K. Rowling gave about, you know, where she was before she wrote Harry Potter. You know, she was homeless. She was in the gutter. It's a different gutter than Ronda Rousey's in. I mean, she just made $3 million off of her last fight. She's a huge superstar, has millions of dollars still. But unfortunately, this is Ronda's rock bottom. And for her not to shy away from it and to accept it as quick as she is, it's awesome. And I really hope that this means that she is going to be coming back, that she's not hanging up the gloves, that she still has something to prove. And I think this will help her. I honestly believe that this will help her. The hype, a lot of people can't handle that. And after so long, I mean, Ronda handled it very well for a long time and put on dominant performances back to back to back to back. We can't take anything away from her career. These people are out there bashing her, saying that she was never the greatest, people saying that she was a fraud, that the UFC tricked us. Clearly, you have never watched a real Ronda Rousey fight before the Holly Holm fight. Maybe you watched the Betts Correia fight, but you never saw fights before that. You didn't follow Ronda Rousey's journey. Yeah, some people don't like the shit talk or the hype, but some fighters have to kind of set that mindset. Some fighters have to really live it to achieve it. Look at Cody No Love. I mean, he didn't really need to start fights with Dominic Cruz, but it helped him. And during the fight, Dominic Cruz feeding into that fired him up even more. Ronda Rousey is that same kind of character where she really tries to find meaning to hate your opponent. And could you blame her? Imagine going in there. You're a fighter. I know we got a lot of fighters listening, and you know what it's like, but you got to pump yourself up. You have to have meaning behind your fight. Rose Namajunas just did a great interview this week where she kind of brushed up on this a little bit as well. Like, she thought that Tisha Torres Karolina Kowalkiewicz had more to fight for in their fight, where Rose just recently lost. That she really wanted to face Joanna Jędrzejczyk again and take the title. I don't know why Rose wasn't motivated. I mean, her coaches and boyfriends and stuff like that or whatever, but I can only relate to that. I mean, you gotta pump yourself up, you gotta get hyped, and that's why I played football my whole life. I had an amazing coach because in halftime he would hype everyone up. It doesn't necessarily mean hate your opponent, but whatever you gotta do to perform to the best of your capability, that your heart and your soul is gonna drive you, and in times when you feel like the gas tank's just empty, that's the stuff that brings fuel right back into it. Happy to see Ronda's back. Clearly you can tell that I'm a huge Ronda fan, but I would just hate to see her go out this way. I don't want to see Ronda Rousey go out on a sour note. I think it would just be awful. It would be awful. We've seen so many fighters in the past go through the same thing. This is only 2 losses. This is the sport of fighting. You're going to lose. You're going to lose at some point. It's very hard to achieve retiring with an undefeated record in the sport of MMA. I'm not talking about boxing. I'm not talking about football, because in football, remember, at the end of your season, you get a fresh record. In MMA, every loss, every win counts. That's stuck there permanently. I think Ronda's going to come back. What do you guys think about this? Last time I'm going to ask you about Ronda, but what do you guys think about this? Let us know on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA and also on Facebook. Facebook.com/Pure Evil MMA. I'm so pumped up for the Shamrock FC card, the Titan FC card coming up, Valor fights coming up, man. I got a lot of great interviews that you guys are going to hear on this episode. Of course, I hope you guys enjoyed the interview so far. We got one more for you, but we also have another show this week, and I got a great lineup for that as well between Valor Fights, Titan FC. The Shamrock FC, guys, if you haven't watched Shamrock FC, which I know a lot of you guys have, you're missing out. Between Shamrock FC, Valor Fights, and Titan FC, those are like the 3 ones that I really like to get behind and support the fighters there. Definitely go check it out. UFC Fight Pass is a huge supporter of all these guys. If you don't have UFC Fight Pass, once again, you're missing out. This is the Netflix for MMA fans. You don't want to miss it. In 2017, they got the collection of every fight that you can wish for, every season of Ultimate Fighter, interviews, UFC Now. They have everything there, and it's only like $8 a month. So for $8 a month, you guys can be watching Shamrock FC, Titan FC, all of this. Guys, we got our next guest who's going to be fighting Deron Carlis, who in the co-main event of Shamrock FC 282, coming at you January 14th, and Garret Gross on the line right now. How was your holiday, Garret?
It was great, man. My weight's good, so I got to eat a little more than I usually eat, so it was good. I just got back from I was living in Hawaii, and now I'm back home, so I got to visit all my family, so it's been nice.
Wow. What's that like, living down there in Hawaii? I got to speak with a couple of fighters, and they're so tight with one another, all the fighters down there.
Yeah, it was nice. I'm kind of a country guy, you know, so I lived in the city down there, so I was kind of ready to come home. But I mean, it's a beautiful place to visit. It's just not somewhere I really like to live, but if you want to visit, it's a beautiful place. The mountains and the scenery for sure.
So listen, man, what are you doing to get ready for your upcoming fight for Shamrock FC?
Yeah, I'm doing a little bit of everything. Like I said, my weight's good, so that's something that's usually a different factor. Right now, my weight's so good that I can eat a little more and focus on the stuff that I need to be focused on other than the weight cut at the end. So, you know, the basic stuff, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, striking, and getting ready to put on a show.
You know, for any young kids out there that are listening that are, or any age really, that are interested in getting to MMA, what would you suggest to learn first? Of course, there's school out there that train, you know, everything, but what's one thing you should really practice on first when you're just getting into mixed martial arts?
Just getting into mixed martial arts. I would probably start with jiu-jitsu and get which I didn't, but if I could go back and do it, start younger doing jiu-jitsu, I definitely would. I think it's a good base, and it can you can use a lot of the stuff from jiu-jitsu to apply in different areas of your life. So I think that would be a great start for anybody wanting to get into MMA or just any type of martial arts. And just start basic. You know, people try to move too fast and get fancy. Just get good at the basics and then go from there.
Well, I have to ask everybody this, or my audience will literally choke me out. What's your take on Ronda Rousey versus Amanda Nunes coming up this Friday?
I got to go with Nunes. I used to train with her out at American Top Team when I was out there. So I'm kind of friends with her, so I'm going to go with her. I don't know how, you know, Rousey taking that loss and then how upset she was about it. I don't know how she's going to come back from that being a year ago. And she's not. I'm kind of a humble guy. I try to be a humble guy, so I think Nez is a little more humble. So I root for her.
And there's so many people out there that really think that she's going to win. I don't know what's going to happen. All we do know is that it's going to be an exciting fight. Now, also,
yeah, definitely.
Also on that card, we have Dominic Cruz versus Cody Nolev. I got to quickly get your take on that as well.
I'm going to go with Cruz, being the experience that he has, the movement. I mean, I think he could go either way, but if I had a pick, if I was a bet man, I'll put my money on Cruz.
You know what, Garrett? It's been a crazy year in 2016 for MMA. We've had so many good highs and, you know, not too many lows, but yeah, there were a couple lows. Where were you at the beginning of 2016, and are you happy with, you know, how the year has ended for you?
In 2016, I was still down at American Top Team. I was training down there in South Florida. It's a great gym, but in my point in my career, I think me coming back home, getting a little more one-on-one attention is what I needed. So, you know, just like you said, there's been highs and lows throughout the MMA community, and it's been, you know, up and down for me. But now, getting ready to start 2017, I think I'm exactly where I need to be. So I'm looking forward to 2017 being a great year.
If you don't mind me asking, why'd you leave American Top Team?
It's just such a big place, you know, and I'm still connected with those guys down there, and I can go down there and train anytime. There's just so many guys there, you know, and when you get a lot of guys coming from all over the world, it kind of gets egotistical, you know. So instead of me going in there and getting better all the time, I feel like I was fighting all the time when I need to be learning a little bit more. So right now, being back to where I'm from, I can get a little one-on-one more here and keep learning every day instead of fighting all the time. I'll eventually be back down there, but I just got some things that I got to take care of in my game before I go back.
Well, this year is definitely big for, you know, all promotions, you know, not just UFC, not just Bellator, even though Bellator really, you know, climbed its way out of, you know, quicksand. You know, Shamrock FC has been putting on amazing cards, Valor Fights, putting on amazing cards, Titan FC. I mean, man, you fought for Bellator. Now you're on Shamrock FC. What promotion, did you enjoy working with the most? Of course, everyone has nothing but nice things to say about Shamrock FC. But really, the question is, what's the difference, between Bellator, Shamrock FC, and all these other organizations out there?
I've really enjoyed fighting for both Bellator and Shamrock. I've been, with Shamrock for almost all my career. I don't know, if there's a big difference. Maybe a little bit higher level, in Bellator, but everybody's got to start somewhere. So, maybe I think maybe Bellator will be back in 2017, so I can keep working my way up through Shamrock and get back on one of those cards.
So, man, what's going on in your home life? Do you have a girlfriend? Do you have kids, dogs? Let everybody know a little bit about what goes on, outside the cage.
Yeah, I have a son. His name's Ezra. He's 4 years old, and I'm engaged.
Congratulations.
I'm engaged just recently, and we moved back to Southern Illinois, which is about an hour and a half outside of St. Louis, Missouri. So we're just now getting settled in. I've only been back for a week, so we're just getting settled back in and getting into the swing of things. So I feel good and ready for January 14th.
Well, when we started this interview off, you let me know that you're at the gym, man. So can you give everybody like a visual of what a day in the life of Garret Gross, what goes on?
Yeah, sure. Usually I train Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday, depending on, how I feel at the end of the week and if I need more recovery or not. In the mornings I train specific MMA, different styles. And, a little bit of sparring here since we're getting close to the fight, but a lot of drilling in the mornings. And in the evenings I do strength and conditioning 3 days a week, and also I get in the gi a couple of days a week at night too. So I'm pretty busy right now.
That's awesome, man. What are you doing to get ready for your opponent? Are you somebody that likes to watch a lot of footage on the guy you're facing, or do you really trust your coaches and the guys that you're working with to study him and find the right sparring partners for you? How do you go about all of that?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of film on him, and he's a tough kid. He's strong, got low center of gravity, and I think he's got a wrestling background, but he gets to that too. So you got to look at all those aspects. He's got not just one dimensional. He can do a few things. So I've been preparing for everything. Stand up, wrestling, on the ground, everything. So really, it doesn't matter. You just got to be well-rounded and ready for whatever. So that's what's gonna go down on the 14th. I'll be ready.
We actually just had him on. Yesterday we were talking with him. He's a great guy. Have you ever talked with him before, or reached out, or have you guys exchanged any words or anything like that, or are you just not too familiar, but you're getting ready?
No, I don't know the kid. I know that I think he was a veteran of the military, I think.
Yeah.
So anybody, I respect anybody who's protects our country. And he was also, I think he fights out of American Top Team in Kansas City. So I know some of the guys down there. His coach, Jason High. I've trained with him a few times, and he's a good guy. So I have respect for those guys over there, and I look forward to fighting.
That's actually really funny that you mentioned that. We were talking about that same thing. Jason was actually the first interview I did face-to-face, like with somebody. He's an amazing guy over that World Series of Fighting. And speaking of all that, they have a huge card coming up. Will you be tuning in for the New Year's Eve card, World Series of Fighting?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Me and my family will definitely watch that one.
Well, look out for me. I'll be right there, ringside, with the Pure Evil MMA shirt on, brother. And for everybody out there that wants to follow you on social media, where can they find you?
You can just look my name up on Facebook at Garret Gross. I have a personal page, and I also have a fan page on there. Also, Twitter and Instagram handle is Garret, Garrett, 155, Gross, Gross.
No Snapchat, Garret?
Excuse me?
No Snapchat? You're not a Snapchat guy?
No, I'm not a Snapchat guy.
That's awesome, man. What we like to do at this point in the interview is hand the imaginary microphone over to our guest. If you have any sponsors, shout outs, anything I missed, anything you want your opponent to know, your fans to know, the floor is all yours, brother.
Well, I look forward to fighting on 14th. I hope everybody come out and check it out. And all glory to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This is Garret Gross, and you're listening to Pure Evil MMA.
In case you guys don't know, we got any new listeners out there, 2017, there's going to be some new MMA rules coming in. Some of them are actually pretty crazy that you're going to hear in a second. If you heard last week's episode, we did the same segment. You can fast forward to our interview with Deron Carlis. But for those of you out there that don't know, this is very important, and I want to make sure it gets to your ears. So here's Minion with the 2017 new MMA rules.
What's up, MMA fans? Evil Eddie has asked me, Minion McGrunion, to put together the simplest summary of the upcoming changes to the unified rules of MMA as voted on by the Association of Boxing Commissions on the 2nd of August 2016. And yes, if you're wondering what happened to the audio, I'm British, so no need to adjust your sound settings, it won't help. Right, so I've put as simply as possible, the most notable upcoming changes to the unified rules of MMA are as follows. In clarification of judging criteria, it was emphasised what judges should deem necessary for a fighter to win a round. It was said effective striking and grappling is the most important in judging this. Only if both fighters are 100% equal in this category will effective aggressiveness and fight area control be taken into account. But if one fighter is in any way dominant in effective striking and grappling, this alone will be enough to win them the round. Equally, the criteria of a 10-8 round will be enforced as follows. Dominance, duration and impact, which is similar to damage but with emphasis on moments that could finish the fight. If a fighter demonstrates any two of these, the judges will consider a possible 10-8 round. But if they demonstrate all three, they have to award a 10-8 round to the fighter. Next is an amendment to the definition of a grounded fighter. It used to be if one hand, fist or even a finger was touching the ground, therefore avoiding illegal kicks or knees to the head. But for various reasons this will be scrapped and a fighter will have to have both, either both hands or both fists or a combination thereof, touching the canvas to be considered a grounded fighter. With eye pokes being such a problem, as a preventative measure, extended fingers will now be considered a foul. Before the eye poke happens, the action of extending your fingers towards your opponent's face will in itself be a foul. If the fingers are pointing up or pointing towards the legs or body, this will be allowed, just not when they are extended towards the face. And as with any foul in MMA, the referee will give as many warnings as they see fit before ultimately the fighter will be deducted a point. Next, they decided to remove heel kicks to the kidneys from the list of illegal actions. So now, if the fighter on bottom wants to kick the kidneys to help improve their position, they will be allowed to do so. Equally, clavicle grabbing will also be removed from the list of illegal actions. If a fighter chooses to dig their fingers into the collarbone, this will be allowed. And finally, female MMA fighters' attire will be standardised. No more baggy, loose-fitting or long-sleeve clothing. Simply sports bra or short-sleeved or sleeveless rash guards will be permitted. Below the waist, it will be the same as for the men, but without the obligatory groin guard. So there you have it. These proposed changes were voted on and passed. But don't worry if this is a lot to take in, as it was agreed upon that these changes won't come into effect until the 1st of January 2017. This has been a Minion McGrunion production for Pure Evil MMA. Check out my YouTube channel or find me on Twitter if you go by the title of MMA Fan. Back to Evil Eddie in the Pure Evil MMA studio. This has been Minion McGrunion saying I'll catch you on the other side of that bell.
So there you go, guys. Those are going to be the new rules in this year of the UFC, MMA, and you know what? We actually tried interviewing, I'm not even saying names or anything, but you know, with the female and their dress attire and all that, there's been a couple of nip slips before in the past, and I think it's great that they actually give them the option, like, you want to wear this, or that, like, go for it. Changing all that, because as much as I enjoy it, I mean, worrying, you know, as a fighter, to have to worry about your nip popping out, it's not fun. You know, everyone's watching. It just throws you off your game, and whatever we can do to prevent that from happening, I'm down with. So let me know what's up with these new rules. Do you guys like them? Do you guys think that this is a real big game changer? Because I think a couple of those are huge. You know, the whole collarbone grab, I like it. What do you guys think? Let me know on Twitter. Let's get into our next interview with Deron Carlis, Shamrock FC, who's going to be in the co-main event, fighting Garret Gross, who we just heard from. Let's jump right into it. All right, guys, we got our next guest on the line, Deron Carlis, the Pharaoh, who has an upcoming fight against Garret Gross in the co-main event of Shamrock FC 282 going down January 14th. We got to speak with a couple of fighters on this card. I can't wait for it. But before we talk about any of that, man, how was your holiday?
It was good, man. I got to spend time with family, which is good. You know, how about you?
I had an awesome time, just, you know, still full, still got my leftover cannoli, so I can't be any happier being an Italian that I am on the East Coast here. But, you know, man, you're training at ATT. You got an upcoming fight. We just had Thanksgiving and Christmas. Was that a distraction to you, or did you just, you know, mind forward, gas, and go?
No, man, it wasn't really too hard. I mean, the biggest thing for me on the holidays is being around family, because for a few years I was in the Army, so I was away from my family. But since I've been back, you know, I started fighting in 2012, and then up until last February, I was pretty active. So I got used to having fights around the holidays. So from February of last year and starting back in 2012, I had like 16 fights between all my amateurs and my first 6 pro fights. So I was pretty active. So the cut on the holidays, it can be grueling when you're looking at the desserts and stuff, but my family does a pretty good job of making turkey and salad and stuff like that I can eat, so it wasn't too bad.
So listen, man, you just fought on Bellator 150. Was that like a one-time thing? Because I know they like calling guys like, hey, we got an open fight. Do you want to hop up from, you know, Shamrock or whatever promotion you're at, fill in this fight, and then, you know, we'll put you back on the list, win or lose?
I did actually. I got contacted by a dude named Jed, and my manager Dusty Spalding and my coach LC. They talked to me about fighting on that card. And I fought a tough dude named Ty Clark, who's from the Wichita area, trains out at Dave Rickles' camp. So it was a good test for me. He was an undefeated guy at the time, and I ended up losing a 29-28 close decision. But it was a good fight. I learned a lot from it. You know, it was the first time in my pro career that I had gone all 3 rounds. You know, so it was good to test, you know, the gas tank and things like that. And you know, they offered me the fight. I took it, and then I actually got offered a chance to fight again. But I'm taking this fight at 55 instead of cutting to 45, because the cut to 45 is a lot of weight. So I'm going to see how things go at 55, and then just kind of see what opens up for me from there.
So where did this nickname of the Pharaoh come from? I mean, I love that nickname. Was that something that your family gave you, your friends, or people at the gym? What's the story behind all that?
You know, I really like a lot of the Egyptian culture and their background, and you know, to date they are the oldest civilization to practice hand-to-hand combat and things like that. And I'm the oldest of all my siblings and the only boy with my last name. So it kind of fit. You know, I'm here to take care of my family and lead by example, and you know, create an empire and a good foundation for my kids and my brothers and sisters whenever my parents pass the throne on to me.
So are you a guy that likes to watch a lot of videos of your opponents, or do you leave that to your coaches, or what do you do?
You know, if there's fights on guys, you know, right now it's kind of, as you turn pro, it's easier to find fights on people and watch and study them and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, you know, I'll see what I can find on YouTube and stuff like that, and I'll study it, and I'll bring it to my coaches and ask them to look over it, and they let me know what things I need to work on and what a guy's consistently doing in the ring. And things that I need to work on to prepare myself for that person. So it was kind of a joint effort.
So we had a crazy year, man. 2016, between how far we came with the, legalizing it in New York, and then we had so many amazing fights. What stood out the most to you in 2016 in MMA?
Man, 2016, dude. Like you said, it was a crazy year. From Rousey losing the belt to freaking Yusuf Tate losing the belt. Now it's back at ACT, and then you got the fight, like you said, up in Madison Square Garden. Conor McGregor taking 2 titles. It's been a crazy year all around. This has been a year full of solid fights. You got MVP from Bellator knocking people out. You got my coach L.C. Davis going out there and putting on really good fights. He had a close one against Dante. He just fought Galvan on Bellator a couple weeks ago. So I've just been excited to sit back and kind of watch. This year I only fought one time, and it was after my fight in Bellator. I knew my body needed a break.
Yeah.
And so I took some time, from cutting all the weight and spent a lot of time with my family and had to get some things in order. But it's been cool for the last year, kind of being a spectator and a fan again, and really watching the sport and seeing all the crazy things that have happened in the sport and watching it grow as much as it is.
Hey, man, sometimes that's what people need to do. Conor McGregor had to do it before. Dominic Cruz even had to do it with his injury. And, can't take anything away from it. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And you are now the third person this week I've interviewed from ATT. And, of course, I have to ask you, since the fight's on Friday against Ronda Rousey versus Amanda, I was just talking to somebody at your camp about this. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Ronda's going to win it? And how do you think it's going to happen? Is Amanda going to bring it back home to ATT? Of course, we're obviously guessing you're going to say that, but, just take yourself outside as a fan really quick. How do you see this fight playing out?
Man, honestly, with Ronda having so much time off, you don't really know what she's been working on and things like that. But I like Amanda, dude. She's tough. She's aggressive. She can strike. I think that could give Ronda Rousey some problems. But if it goes to the ground, it's kind of hard to get out of her armbar. So, I don't really predict fights, man. I just want to see a good scrap. I think it could go either way. It just depends on who comes out and who's the smarter fighter and who doesn't get flustered and doesn't let the pressure get to him.
So I ask this to every guest that comes on here. Shamrock FC 282, you have an opponent. How do you see your fight playing out?
Oh, dude, from what I've seen and what I know about my opponent, dude, he's a scrapper, man. He's going to come out, he's going to bang. He can fight 3 rounds. He's got good cardio. He's pretty good everywhere. He's got good stand-up. He's got good grappling. So I'm just excited to go out and eat and leave everything in the cage, man.
Do you have a prediction for this fight?
No, man, I don't have any predictions. I'm just going to go out there and scrap and, expecting the 3-round bloodbath.
Well, it's going to be a co-main event, man, so that's definitely huge. And 2016's been a great year. Do you have a New Year's resolution for 2017? And what was your 2016's New Year resolution?
I don't really make resolutions. I just try to set goals, and my goal is to get better this year than I was last year. Go out and get some wins under my belt and see how far I can take this fighting business.
All right, as we get towards the end of this interview, I got to ask, what's one of your pleasures after you fight? Do you have a favorite food you like to eat or something that you enjoy doing? What is it?
Oh, man, I really like barbecue, man. We got a place here called Gates. I usually go and get a mixed plate, which is probably like 2 or 3 pounds of barbecue. Get super fat. And then get back to training again. My girl's birthday is on the 14th, so we won't really, the 10th, so we won't really be able to get to celebrate it until the 14th after the fight. So after the fight, we're probably just going to, grub out at the casino a little bit, hang out, stay the night there, and then Sunday morning get up and go get some barbecue, celebrate her birthday.
Well, I got to thank you so much for coming on Pure Evil MMA. As we get towards the end here, what I like to do is pass the imaginary microphone over to my guest. If you have any shout-outs, sponsors, social media where people can find you, all of my listeners out there that want to check your page out, the floor is all yours now, brother.
Yeah, man, I would like to first give a shout out to my fiance, Crystal. Thanks for having my back, all my coaches at ATT, Jason High, LC Davis. My boy Jeff Molina's been helping me out a lot. John Teal's been doing a lot of tie pads with me. Guys up at Olathe South. Connor and Pat Fitzgerald, they've been helping me a lot with my wrestling. My sponsors, Hypnotic, Fightwear, Complete Nutrition KC, Greenscapes Lawn and Land, Jersey Boys Deli. I just really appreciate all the support, my family. I got to thank God for the opportunity and Shamrock for having me on the card. I really appreciate it.
Well, last question. What has been your favorite song that you've been listening to lately? And what song do you usually like listening to? Or what kind of style of music do you like listening to on fight night?
I listen to a lot of rap, man, and I listen to a lot of old school rap. I listen to a lot of Bun B, a lot of Texas stuff. I listen to a lot of Biggie and Pac. It just depends on the day, man. When I wake up in the morning, whatever I'm feeling is what I'm going to rock with that day in the fight.
Dude, I don't know how some people or fighters don't listen to music. I get so much energy, extra energy off of that music. Well, I can't wait for your fight coming up. Shamrock FC 282, January 14th, guys. You do not want to miss Deron Carlis, the Pharaoh, in the co-main event. Thank you so much for coming on Pure Evil MMA.
All right, man. I appreciate you having me.
All right, before we get out of here, guys, just a quick heads up, quick reminder. We're going to be dropping another episode of Pure Evil MMA, and we have a bunch of great guests. We're going to do it the same way we did it today, and I hope you guys liked it, having opponents on. So you get to hear, both sides of it, and then when you tune in to watch the fight, you heard from both of them already. You don't have to search between episodes anymore. I think that's a great idea. We're going to keep rolling with it. Make sure you guys give them all a follow on their Twitter pages or their social media. Gave it to you in the interviews. I want to thank all of our guests today. I had a blast. I hope you guys enjoyed your New Year's and set it off right. Thanks for tuning in to Pure Evil MMA, episode number 33. I'm your host, Evil Eddie from FrontProofMedia.com with all your latest and greatest MMA news. Make sure you tune in every Wednesday night to Evil Intoxicated up on YouTube. The link's on our Facebook page and also Ted Check's page. Go check it out. It's a blast. Open chat rooms every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Shout out to our members of the week and also Leslie getting that UFC Pick'em, last one of the year. Congratulations, girls. Make sure you guys behave yourselves.